From a weird gun that actually uses explosives, to an automatic energy kit that can give you all sorts of cancers, we take a look at 10 banned children's toys. Number 10. Snack Time Kid Cabbage Patch Doll. In 1996, Mattel released the Snack Time Kid, a Cabbage Patch doll with a motorized jaw that allowed it to eat fake plastic food that you can place in its mouth. Children initially loved the gimmick, but things went sour when it emerged that the doll wouldn't stop chewing until its mouth was empty. The indiscriminate and unrelenting mastication inevitably shunned plastic morsels in favor of mashing up tiny fingers and snagging long hair in its merciless mechanical jaws, tearing it from young scalps at the root. The company, Mattel, was forced to remove the toy from sale. Number 9. Matador Barbie. Barbie has had numerous jobs since her introduction in 1959. Paleontologist, news anchor, paratrooper, and stewardess. But the job that got her in the most trouble was probably her brief time as a Matador bullfighter. Released in 1999, Matador Barbie was criticized for its implicit endorsement of the brutal Spanish sport, which sees bulls ritually slaughtered after an extended period of taunting and provocation. Celebrity fan Alicia Silverstone sent Mattel's chairman Robert Eckert a letter urging him to discontinue the doll. The campaign worked, and the following year, the toy was permanently discontinued. Number 8. Lawn darts. Cast in solid metal and heavy-weighted so it would stick convincingly to the ground, lawn darts allowed any child to experience all the fun of a dartboard with all the danger of chucking around what is essentially a deadly weapon. After it emerged that they were responsible for a reported 7,000 injuries and 3 deaths since 1970, all lawn darts were banned by the Consumer Product Safety Commission in the US in December 1988. Number 7. Sky Dancers. Released by Galoob in 1994, Sky Dancers were winged fairy dolls which would launch high into the air with the pull of a cord, at which point they'd extend their arms outward to slow their descent and spin gracefully back to Earth. At least, that was the fantasy. The reality was that the super fast spins and harsh plastic bodies proved a powerful and unpredictable combination. They were credited with breaking teeth, lacerating faces, causing temporary blindness, and at least 1 concussion. After over 100 injuries were reported in 6 years, 9 million Sky Dancers were recalled in June 2000, and eventually re-released by Play Along Toys in 2005, with an amended design. Number 6. Bindies. Small plastic dots which fuse together when sprayed with water. Bindies allowed children to design their own plastic creations, and in 2007, they were named Australian Toy of the Year. But it was soon discovered that the manufacturers, the Wangqi Product Factory in China, had substituted one chemical component for a similar, cheaper one during production. Unlike the original specification, Bindies now metabolized into gamma-hydroxybutyric acid when swallowed, otherwise known as GHB. The substance is a powerful drug that can act as a sedative, stimulant, anesthetic, and intoxicant. Bindies were immediately banned when 9 children ended up in the hospital after swallowing them. Number 5. CSI Fingerprint Examination Kit. TV's most unrelenting franchise relented from the shelves pretty quickly when it emerged that a CSI-licensed fingerprint examination kit was considerably more dangerous than the fake crimes it was being used to investigate. That's because a vial of fingerprint dust included in the box contained industrial-grade asbestos. Up to 7% of the dust was made of the stuff. It might sound hilarious, but it's hardly a laughing matter. Just a single exposure to asbestos of this type can lead directly to lung cancer in later life. Unsurprisingly, the manufacturer of the toy went bankrupt. Number 4. Austin Magic Pistol. Toy guns are a delicate subject, with some parents not wanting their kids to play with anything that simulates real-world violence. In the case of the Austin Magic Pistol, which was a hot toy in the late 1940s, you could actually do a bit of real-world violence with it as well. The Magic Pistol used calcium carbide, a chemical that undergoes a huge explosive reaction when mixed with water, to propel ping-pong balls out of the muzzle at a terrifying rate of speed. The fireball that this toy created was so dangerous that they were rapidly taken off the market. Number 3. Carmageddon. The UK is pretty relaxed in its video game censorship compared to some countries, but even then, the original 1997 release of Carmageddon proved too much for the BBFC, which banned the automobile-based murder 'em up for sale, allegedly for basing its reward system purely on the number of innocent bystanders you could transform into mincemeat. The game was eventually rated for release after a change was made that turned the pedestrians into zombies with green blood. And 10 months later, the original version was finally certified for people 18 years and older. Number 2. All Simpsons toys. In 2012, the sale of all toys based on The Simpsons was banned in Iran as a part of an attempt to combat Western intoxication. This, just a few months after the same ban was applied to all Barbie toys in the country as well, leading the raids and arrests on shops selling the dolls. The Simpsons ban cited the Springfield family's self-centered and irreligious attitudes as the motivating factor. But maybe they just had enough of the latest seasons and were trying to do what they could to stop them. Number 1. Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Laboratory. These days, if you tried to carry radioactive material anywhere near a toy shop, you'd be thrown in jail faster than you could say Manhattan Project. But in the 1950s, radiation was a friendly reminder that the future had arrived. So it was that in 1950, inventor A.C. Gilbert released the U-238 Atomic Energy Lab, each example of which contained 4 samples of uranium ore, as well as genuine sources of alpha, beta, and gamma particles. In 1951, it was removed from sale when it was feared that children might swallow the radioactive sources. U-238 has been linked to cancers such as leukemia and lymphoma.